So this doesn't really have anything to do with Yom Kippur, but I was thinking about my bar mitzvah parashah, Vayishlach, and part of it's when Jacob wrestles with God, and I was thinking about that and came to some pretty interesting conclusions. You know the story. Jacob is walking around after dusk and all of a sudden a man pounces on him and then they wrestle and God says, "Let me go." Jacob says no, then God touches Jacob's leg and Jacob lets go. Well, there's been some controversy as to why God did that, or even if it was God. If I may quote from Torah Club Volume 5 from First Fruits of Zion, "As we pass over thousands of years of commentary, we can hear the voices of ancient sages, medieval rabbis, Christian commenters, and modern Messianic commenters, all mingling together in a confused din of contradictory interpretations." It didn't really happen. It was just a dream. No, it was a vision. No, it wasn't a dream or a vision. No, it was actually God. The man was an angel of God. It wasn't a good angel, it was an evil angel. It's not just any angel, it's the angel of Esau. No, it was actually Esau himself. No, it was the spirit of Esau. Wrong, it was Jacob wrestling with himself. No, it was God giving Joseph a licking for sneaking around and stealing other people's birthrights. No, it was the angel of Hashem refining his character. No, it wasn't the angel of Hashem, it was the Messiah. The angel of Hashem is Messiah. Well, the fact is, we don't really know why God wrestled Jacob. In fact, there's a lot of stuff that God does and commands us to do that we don't quite understand. For example, the kosher laws. Ahahaha, you say. No, the kosher laws were given to prevent diseases. Well, maybe that might be the case for some animals, like pigs and shellfish, the most famous non-kosher animal. But what kind of diseases does a camel have that cows don't have? We just had the whole mad cow disease epidemic a while ago. And if it really was just to prevent diseases, why wouldn't have God said, "Thou shalt not consume MSG"? Well, actually that could be a big problem because, well, you know how much Jews love Chinese food. Okay, so maybe health isn't the main reason for the kosher laws. Well then what is? You know, we really don't know why God does a lot of stuff. And not only do we not know the reasons behind certain things, but there's a big chance that we probably never will. And we need to be okay with that. I mean, just look at Job. The entire book, God never tells Job why he's going through his suffering, or God's little confrontation with the adversary. Nothing. All Job knows is he's having a really good life, he's worshiping God, all of a sudden, boom, everything's gone. His life is terrible, and he prays, God answers him, there's a little conversation there, and then at the very end, everything's brought back more so than it was before. But God never revealed to Job the whole confrontation with the adversary. It's kind of like, well, I've used this analogy before, but it's kind of like a daddy with his 5-year-old son. The daddy has rules for the son that the son might not understand. For example, don't put that knife in the electrical socket. The 5-year-old son has like no concept of electricity or death. But just because the 5-year-old son does not understand why the dad told him not to do certain things, that doesn't mean that he shouldn't not do them. Oh snap, I just did a double negative. But by the son obeying his dad, he's showing that he trusts his dad. And he's also showing that he loves his dad. Because I'll obey anybody if they tell me why I should obey and what the end result of my obeying will be, and if it's obviously beneficial to me. One of the major signs of loving somebody is obeying them just because you trust them. If your parents said to you, "There's a really big surprise in this van, come on, you need to come get it," then obviously you would obey them. But if a random stranger says to you, "Hey, there's a surprise in this van, you really should come and get it," you hopefully wouldn't. And if you would, you need help. But really, we obey the people we trust. If my best friend said to me, "Chris, you need to calm down when you're making your Messianic Mondays," then I would believe him! And I would calm down. So, really what I'm trying to say, and mangling it pretty badly, is that God tells us to do things that we don't always understand, yes. But that doesn't mean that we will not obey them until we have a reason for them. There are some things that we just need to trust God on. I'm not really sure why God said do not consume certain animals, do not mix wool and linen, do not light a fire on Shabbat. But you know what? God knows, and I'm just gonna trust him. Okay, I know that Hanukkah is now for a couple months, but there was this really good Jewish band called the Maccabees, and they released a parody of Dynamite entitled Candlelight, and I really, really recommend seeing it. Look, just click right there, the magical floating rectangle that I've added in later in post. If you click it, you will not be disappointed. It's really good, and it's all a cappella. No, I'm not doing this again. Nope.
I feel my lockers in the air sometimes, saying hey, oh, spin the dreidel.
Nope.